So the purpose of today's presentation was to talk about marketing like it's 2018. And it was a bit of a wake-up call that I got a couple of years ago from watching an online guru called Gary Vaynerchuk, who's one of the foremost minds in new wave business, social media, and the digital world. And what he was talking about was, why are we continuing to market like it's 1999, 1997, 1976, pick your year. And part of the problem is the way that businesses are structured. We've usually got white guys that are 60-year-old running the businesses. And what they like is safety and risk averseness. And they don't want to change things because it might affect their short-term payouts, shareholder agreements, and their nice bonus at the end of the year. However, the world has changed dramatically, mainly because of the mobile phone, and every single vertical that you can think of is being disrupted right now. So the food and drink industry and the takeaway industry, huge disruption obviously with Just Eat and Deliveroo, etc., etc. Deliveroo Editions, an amazing idea to get the reach even further without bricks and mortar. And even just before I came on stage, I saw a little robot walking alongside a guy like a little dog, which will be disrupting Deliveroo and the human need for things. So it's going to be really interesting and exciting to see what's going to happen going forward. So the main message for today is for you to nuke everything that you're currently doing and start again. And that's really because the marketing plans that we have, the product plans that we have, the business plans that we have, they're sort of legacy. And what we're doing is cutting and pasting every single year, hoping for a different result. And it's something I was definitely guilty of when I was in Yo Sushi and Pret and these other places as well. I'd cut and paste the marketing plan, fill in a little bit more, hope I'd get more headcount and a third more budget, and away we go. So, in this brave new world, who are we actually targeting? Well, it's the M word, so millennials, like sort of Sasquatch or unicorns or whatever, do they really exist? The point is, there's a new generation out there with new thoughts, new needs, new outlooks on life, new attitudes, and living life in a dramatically different way than we were, or I certainly was, 41 years old next week. So looking at this is some US stats, but actually millennials are now the largest group of consumers out there. So if you don't, start thinking about them and starting to look at their needs and their wants and the channels that they are doing business through and ordering through and shopping through and taking influence through, then your business will die along with the baby boomers, etc., that are going to be in nursing homes quite soon, right? So who are the millennials? So there's a million different definitions. I took this from Goldman Sachs. I'm figuring out, they're cleverer than I am by a long shot, so this will do for me. So basically, anyone born between 1980 and 2000, there's 80 million in the US, but if you extrapolate that over to the UK, it'll be, in line with that. 2.5 billion worldwide, and also, interestingly, they're the most ethnically and racially diverse group that we have ever had, which brings its own benefits and its own challenges as well, but definitely something to be celebrated. So why do they matter? Well, they actually grew up alongside technology. So, if you look at a toddler now trying to swipe your television, you're like, get your hands off my television. But it's just second nature to them. It's just what they think. Computers were a bit of technology for a lot of us growing up, but the telephone wasn't. It was just there. But to the generation before, the telephone was technology, and so it goes on. Also, they've got some real emotional hang-ups and emotional needs that they want to be filled. So anything that they're doing, a business they're supporting, a business that they're working for, they actually want to make a difference by buying from you in terms of provenance, or you give back, or anything like that, but also in their daily lives and their job as well. It really isn't about a paycheck. It's about the effect they're having on the world and the legacy that they're going to leave behind them as well. So many now are having a midlife crisis already in terms of their jobs and quitting the banking or the finance or anything like that and thinking, what can I do that my kids will be proud of me doing? They're the most confident generation out there as well. Every single one of them is a personal brand. They have really high expectations, as you know, if any of you are selling to them, and highly achievement oriented as well, which is a good thing for you guys because things like gamification and hitting targets and things like that could play into your marketing really well. So I laughed the other day. I heard someone say this at a conference, and they said, millennials are the customers of tomorrow, which was really funny. Because they're the customers of today, yesterday, and many, many years before that. So if you're just getting on this journey, you're probably in bad shape already. So once you've got your head around millennials, then the next lot are coming along, which is centennials. So people from maybe a bit more than zero, at least they've got pocket money, all the way through to sort of 17 years old. So again, it's starting to think about that next generation coming through and actually thinking about it like the banks do when they do their little kiddie squirrel bank saving account so that they can sell you a mortgage in 20 years' time. You know, what are you going to do right now to make sure that that's a customer for life and they're going to be shopping with you and using you as time goes on? Some interesting stats as well on the centennials. So 95% of centennials read online reviews while shopping. So you know the people that stop in front of you as you're walking down Oxford Street and you're like, it's that stuff, right? So they're looking to get reviews and get information about what they're going to do next. 50% of them won't purchase if there aren't enough online reviews. So a lot of clients that we have are scared of online reviews and TripAdvisor, etc., but generate the crap out of that. Get as much review going on as you can. Always be asking for that from your customers. 2 in 3 read at least 4 reviews before making a purchase, so it's really important that they can find those also on whichever channel they prefer. That's either a third party or your own website. So 33% of them prefer to see reviews directly on a brand's website as well. So really making that loud and proud up there. And what it will do is hold you to task to make sure you're doing a good job. There's sort of no hiding anymore. 60% read negative reviews first to validate purchases, so they're starting bottom up. And then 43% of them also trust customer reviews on the brand's website. So really making that, that platform for people to share the reviews. So this whole thing now is me, me, me. So we're calling it, and it's called the age of me. If you think about selfies and all that stuff, the world revolves around these guys. And a lot of it is to do with what Simon Sinek says, which was bad parenting strategies. Which is, when we were kids, we used to just have to do what the hell our parents wanted to do, right? Whatever they were doing, we were doing that. Now, you're taking Tabitha to the ballet and you're doing this and that, running about like a loony. And it's always about rewarding them too, because your special little guy, your special little girl can never be a loser, in sports days and all that stuff. So that's going to manifest itself in later years when they actually come through into the boardroom, and then they're going to get a big shock because it's a very different world when you enter the world of work. But yeah, they definitely feel like the world revolves around them, and the whole thing is they are their own motion picture. They're living life like that. We're not like a Lowry painting anymore, going to work like this. We're actually all wanting to do something amazing with our lives, which is a good thing. And also, these are the main character in these movies as well. They're the most talented generation that we've ever had as well. So how many of the younger generation are you talking to? And I'm meaning 40 down. How many of them are you talking to now where they're novelists and they're entrepreneurs and they're videographers and they're writers and they're restaurant critics and they've got their side hustle going on? It isn't just about you go to work and then on your CV, I like going to concerts and playing football. It's the entire gamut. So it's really super interesting. And as a business trying to figure out, as customers or employees, how can you actually harness that for the greater good? So how can you tap into the talents across your business and across your customer base to actually boost them, but also boost your brand in the process? So no more is it about having a head of brand in your company, because that was old thinking. And the old thinking was about having that one person that was a brand Nazi that said that's on brand and it isn't your brand anymore. It's theirs. and all you can do is be part of that evolution and part of that conversation. So again, how can you crowdsource them to be your brand department and your brand ambassadors and actually take you to places that one guy or girl who's been through, an FMCG graduate program just won't be able to. So as I said, it's about building people's personal brand. So I have a friend where his daughter was about to be born, and while he was, waiting on that, on Instagram, Ryan Reynolds, the guy that's Deadpool, liked one of his posts, and that meant more to him than the little girl being born, which is really sad. So from that perspective, what are you doing as a brand? And if they love your brand, what are you doing to make sure that actually you're building their brand? Even if it is just a little heart back or a little mention with their name, it will make them feel like $1 million. This is one of the saddest facts I've ever put up on a screen, but it will come through to restaurants as well and takeaway. So Instagrammability, if that's a word, is the most important factor for millennials choosing a holiday destination. It makes me want to die, but it's true. So again, thinking about you, what are you doing to actually be grammable, which makes me feel sick saying, but grammable. The millennials misspelt there, but the millennials have even got their own colour, right? So millennial pink, it's trademark, it's a thing. And so many smart brands are getting behind this. So Palm Vaults, which is a little cool cafe in Hackney, really went to town on this. So they used Alex, can't remember her second name, Alex Ray, I think it is, Alex May Hughes, to actually make the signage. And she's like the keep calm and carry on for the millennial generation, which is really exciting. So using pink, using lots of palms, cheese plants, all that kind of gubbins, all the things that's in Made.com's catalogues right now, that's what's on trend. So these cups themselves have had a journey of their own. So they've started to appear in New Looks, marketing, and in their Instagram feed and Primark and all these things. And it's actually, if you look at the fashion out there that went through the summer, that was the print that was on so many of the clothes and tops, etc. Also making it grammable inside, so lots of the plants continuing, millennial pink, all that stuff. And for a lot of people, they picture themselves being there, and they're going to get a sale out of that. And also you can see the colour scheme going through. Every single one of them is like a piece of art. It's not just a picture of a coffee thrown up there. Also, some big restaurants are doing it as well. Sketch or a refurb, all millennial pink. And then Copper Club as well. They've actually looked at what some of the most popular hashtags were, and one of them was Wisteria Hysteria. And then they've retro-engineered that into then actually fitting out the place with wisteria all round about it. And this was tens, hundreds of thousands of retweets and pictures are going up there, and that marketing is happening for you. And it's way better than an advert, way better than a flyer, and way better than a discount. Grind, the Grind brand, so Holborn Grind, Clerkenwell Grind, etc. They're doing a really good job on that too. For the size that they are, almost 90,000 followers, some really high engagement. And the super smart move is they've got grammable interiors with the cool, funky neon signs, and also they're taking, let's face it, the nicest looking customers that they have, and then they're actually reposting them, and that's getting attraction too. So I guess sex is still selling. And on that note, it's the most healthy generation that we've ever had out there as well. Every single one of them, quite rightly, and I didn't take this lesson at school, obviously, but, even before they're going on dates or they're going drinking or whatever, they're going to the gym first. It's a real religion to them. So thinking about how you can fit into their lifestyle with all their needs of the proteins and all the other different things that's going to help them build the body and the brand that they want is a really good thing. And having all those choices for that flexitarianism and, that sort of wide variety of choices that everyone's wanting is a really good strategy. However, they are the laziest generation that we've ever had in a weird way. So they'll go at the gym and knock it out the park, but they want everything to come to them or happen in an instant. So again, how can you take you to them? And obviously there's some partners here that's able to do that, but it's thinking about the right way for you and just making sure that, you know, you're not giving away too much profit too. They just want instantaneous stuff. They want to pre-order, glide through, get their stuff, and on average, you know, a couple of years ago was a really strong stat that said when you're in a restaurant or whatever, I know it's takeaway here, but it was 12 minutes to get your bill. So these guys won't wait that long. So again, what are you doing to make sure you've got this frictionless experience like you do with Spotify or Uber for the next 20 days and all that sort of stuff, right? They're also the most powerful generation as well. So all the Trump stuff that's going on with Take an E and all that, that's happened in seconds, and it's went worldwide. So again, you know, they've got a strong voice. They are heavy influencers, every single one of them. And if they got on board with something, it's going to go wild. So again, it's really thinking about how you can harness that power and energy and get them to promote you. They're a huge sharing culture as well. They don't really want to own anything. It's all about borrowing. So streaming movies, streaming music. There's even things like, you know, sharing shopping carts and taxis home, you know, from of someone who's coming home anyway, delivering your shopping for you, sharing power tools, co-working spaces, all that kind of thing. So again, what could you do to really support that? Be a really good thing to look at. Customization's massive as well. I mean, these guys are customizing themselves every second of every day. And also there's a slightly older generation that's getting into that as well, through obviously the kids wanting to be able to do it, etc. But if you bring that through to product, someone like Mod Pizza is doing a really good job on that. So you go in, there's one base, it takes 5 minutes most for you to get your pizza, and there's 40 different toppings, which is millions of combinations. So whatever mood you're in, you can get that. If you want all 40 toppings, you can have it. It won't cook and it'll taste disgusting, but you can have it. So again, thinking around that way, how can you be a kit of parts for someone to get that perfect product and perfect experience? They're also the most active generation online as well. So if you're not grammable and have had a bad experience and your product sucks and, you know, someone was, you know, poor behind the counter, etc., boy, are they going to tell you about it. So again, it's putting in the work at that side to actually answer every single tweet that's going on, every single TripAdvisor review, every single Google review. We had a client that came to us the other week who's a coffee shop, and they'd said our sales are down. Like, no problem. So we had a look at this particular one they were worried about, and what happened was they were rated 2.3 on Google and 2 on TripAdvisor out of 5. And it was like, don't spend a penny with us, sort that out, please. And again, when you went back, they hadn't answered tweets in months, they hadn't even looked at Facebook ever. So again, it's really making sure that your own back garden's fine before you think about putting on an extension, if that analogy works. Demographics are screwed as well. So as marketers, it's getting tougher and tougher and tougher to try and figure out who's what, where, when. All that thinking's going out the window as well. So a little girl, we live down in Brighton, a little girl was going to school and starting school, and they sent a letter through and said, how would you like Molly to be referred to? Is it she or is it and they? So again, that's a gender neutrality. I don't want to be defined by, you know, the bits that I've got or whatever. You know, that's coming through. And again, it's going to be harder and harder and harder to try and figure out who that person really is, because at any point of the day, all the way through the day and all the way through the week, that person's 20 different people and 20 different mindsets with 20 different things that they want. So it's going to get even more complex when you have a concept, and also selfishly for marketers. So where's the attention? Well, it's here. So what we're finding incredible is that so many people are coming to us and, you know, looking at media plans, etc., and they're actually wanting to put money into bus shelters and underground advertising in newspapers, and you're just like, all of the attention is there. Oh yeah, but social media, we'll put up a post and it'll be fine. Not true. Because even if you've got a followership of 100,000 people, Facebook, if you're not putting money behind it, are throttling the crap out of that, and actually 300 people might see it, which is less than your email database probably. So again, it's really taking this seriously and saying, if the attention's there, how can you create, you know, good content? On average, we spend 220 minutes per day looking at a phone. And I don't know about you, but that's way less than looking at my wife and my kid and all the other important things in life, right? Just everyone's scrolling forever, thinking it's something better's happening from where they are at that moment. So what we want to do, and what I'd really advise if you can, is trying to create thumb-stopping content. So how would you do that? So something we've been thinking about back at Spectacular Social, which is part of us, was looking at, well, what would the X Factor do? What would TOWIE do? What would Strictly Come Dancing do? Great British Bake Off? Because they're masters at it. That lead up that you know that it's going to be on, all the clips, all the content, and they're doing a great job online as well. Then the program's on, and then it's about the post and how you're leading up to that next section as well. So again, start thinking and living life like Fox or BBC or ITV or one of these big production companies, and really twisting your marketing department rather than being just a bunch of marketers. It needs to be storytellers, etc., etc. Document everything as well. In 5 years' time, wouldn't it be great for you to look back and actually see all the key moments and great things that happened in your business? But I'm, guilty of it as well, but we're all too busy just doing business and trying to get through the week. But actually, if you can take the time, hire someone, bring in a friend, whatever it is, would it be amazing if Pret now had a full 30-year documentary of great bits or things that happened, even if it was just for internal use? Name the brand you love, and wouldn't you love to really know what went on behind closed doors as they found their way to being the big one? Video is massive as well. So our good trick is flick through your news feeds, whichever channel you want, and just figure out where you're stopping. And a lot of the time it is actually on video, humans, some food porn as well. So, going down that, stop, figure out where you stop, and then start to try and reverse engineer that to think about, why did I stop there and what could I do for my brand to actually make that work? Images are last year's text, so basically images are a given now, but really if you're looking at Instagram, it needs to be an image that looks like it should be in Vogue or something. You're not going to get away with too much rough stuff going on there, and the best ones look grimy, but they took an awful lot of work to get there. And advice we're given for Instagram posts, for example, are you need to take between half an hour and 45 minutes per post to sit and craft that and really get the message across. Get the perfect picture, take 500 pictures and pick the best one, and do it like you would, as much attention as you put into doing a TV ad or a newspaper ad before it went to print. And then the other thing is researching your hashtags. So really doing some great work to try and get your 20 to 30 hashtags that are relevant to your post, that means that people are going to find you even if they don't follow you. So that's like a really big thing to concentrate on. These are the types of publications you want to get into now. So Munchies, BuzzFeed, Lad Bible, all these types of things, because that's where the traditional media are looking now for their stories. So if you can do something that means you get hit there, then actually, I was going to say Daily Star, but Daily Telegraph or The Guardian or, whatever are going to be looking there. And that means you'll get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hits rather than just one in the Metro, which no one's reading anymore, really. Some fun stuff on content, it's a different way for Fanta to actually push out Fanta rather than saying, here's Fanta with an umbrella in it and, some sand or whatever. So basically they hired a Dutch sort of Ed Sheeran kind of guy, I suppose, and they used the Fanta can in all different ways, shapes and forms to make sounds with it. So opening it, rolling it, crushing it, pouring it, all that, to loop beats to then make songs that then went into the charts and everyone was really excited about. So again, it's really using the sort of lateral thinking about how you can take your product and say, talk about it in 1,000 different ways every single day. Some content that's going out there as well. This doesn't look particularly polished, but this morning it got 100,000 views on Unilad, which was just, this sushi heaven. It looks all right. But again, just that movement and just that, sort of wow eye-catching factor, even that's getting 100,000 views there. So if you're a little sushi chain or whatever you are, then, get on that stuff. That's really exciting things for people to look at. It's entertaining. The other stuff to look at as well is a program called, F, That's Delicious. So again, if you look at Vice News and the way that they're putting out content around food and munchies and all these types of things, reverse engineer that into the content you're going to need to make. and that's become a massive hit and a real appointment to view for everyone, which is quite exciting. It's a really different way of looking at it. So content's a big deal. So last couple of things. Marketing departments, if I was a marketer in-house going forward, I'd be getting worried because as a marketing director or a brand director, whatever you are, or a CEO, I'd really start to think about hiring people that are comedians, novelists, film directors, etc., to make up your marketing department. If this whole thing is about telling stories, it feels weird that you'd be hiring marketers to do that. Because at the end of the day, I was too, a product pusher. That's basically what you are, or a promotions jockey. So this is going to be really interesting to see how that goes forward. So Instagram is the one that we're putting all chips into at the moment, but definitely not forgetting Facebook and Twitter. Snapchat's dropping off a bit. I think brands have found it quite hard to penetrate that, so it'll be interesting to see its journey. But for the budgets our clients have and stuff, we're focusing on these three. Instagram stories is really interesting as well because, again, people are chucking any old crap up there. It may as well be pictures of them on the loo or whatever. But what's happening is people have put up a flyer with some funky writing and, expecting that to be engaging and the sales come flooding in. Definition of a story is it has a beginning and a middle and an end. So again, what are you doing to make sure that you're crafting something that's really worth watching? Because every story that you put up, each next one's going to lose followers. So how are you going to keep them going all the way through to the end? And then how are you going to get that call to action at the end to actually do something? But having people excited about you and excited about watching your Instagram story is a really big deal. Facebook Live's really interesting as well. Again, it's the same thing as Instagram stories. People just aren't planning it. They're just lighting it up, showing around, getting some pictures of some feet, some people in the queue, and then it switches off again. But if you can get it right, the standout on there is huge at the moment because not many brands are doing it, certainly in the takeaway and fast casual space. So again, people getting that notification up and it's something worth watching. But again, think about the one show or, one of these things that are live, Sunday brunch, whatever it is. They wouldn't just switch the cameras on and kind of do that. Again, plan, write, produce, and then go for it. It's a paid game as well, social. So there's a really big thing in terms of, Facebook advertising. For a lot of people, they just don't even look at it. But the amount of great stuff that's going on in the background there, if you look at the dashboard and all the things you can target on, are incredible. So, certainly for a fast casual side of things, when you look at maybe if they've got a private dining room or whatever, you can target people who, close friends of people who are 39, about to be 40, you drive bookings. If you look at that for takeaway, you can start looking at hitting every single person in your area, 1 kilometre out even, that then shops with all of your competitors. And then you want to serve them up a relevant creative that then is going to, get them to come into you and try and get them in 3 times if you can, because 3 times is a habit. They break the habit, they start shopping with you. So Facebook ads is definitely one to have a look at. And again, if anyone wants any info on that, just let me know. Near me searches have went up by 34 times in the last year. It's what Google are telling us. So again, sushi near me, sandwiches near me, food near me, coffee near me, I'm hungry near me, whatever. Again, make sure that you're coming up in these searches and that then people can actually click and buy, click and collect, get the information of where you are, you'll get the sale. But again, people are not even planning these things anymore. It's just, I want this now. Couple of final things. Don't just think about your social, obviously. Think about your entire digital ecosystem. So your blog, evergreen content on YouTube, depending on what you do as well. Your search engine optimization, your pay-per-click. So again, I'll send these slides out if anyone wants them and you can have a look a bit more. TripAdvisor, just be really good at what you do, sort of no excuses, and then the good reviews will follow. That's the only advice I can give on that one. Loyalty cards, just wouldn't bother. Points, I wouldn't bother. So apps, I probably wouldn't bother. 30 grand, phones aren't getting any bigger, and boy does it have to be one good app like Just Eat or Spotify or Uber or whatever it is that makes your life better than, hey, check out our menu on the app. This is, in terms of your phone, you're going to have less and less and less apps on it. So again, really looking at it, you need to be really confident this is the best app in the world, or I would just put your money into something else. So Pret's a good example. No loyalty cards, just give away the odd free coffee. Simple. Simplest ideas are the best. And the amount of people you tell about that, rather than, hey, I got my 9th stamp and, name your coffee shop. So that's the way to do it, really. Just simple is best. Be kind. Don't worry about the commerciality, and the sales will follow. So a couple of new things. Everyone's scrolling and being really passive. So eventually it won't be engagement you need to measure. It's actually views and video and things like that. Facebook Messenger and also WhatsApp are going to be the way to pre-order and personal shop, which is going to be really interesting. Reaching out to micro-influencers, so everyone that loves your brand or is in your area between 10,000 and 30,000 followers, then get out to them, reach out to them, and connect with them and get them to promote your brand. Ordering food on Facebook, so that's going to be really interesting for the Deliveroo's and Just Eats of this world, how they all integrate and live happily together. What's your voice strategy as well? So have you got an Amazon pack to then make sure you can get orders from that, etc., etc. So that's going to be really interesting too. Sorry, I'm rushing through this slightly because I know time's bad. Emoji language, so you're going to be able to accept that when people text you their order and things like that. So there's all these future things to think about. I know it seems a bit crazy and maybe a bit rubbish, but again, it's the way the world's moving because everyone wants shorthand ways of doing things. So last couple of slides, I promise. Chatbots as well, talking to you on Facebook Messenger, and then what you can do is actually get them to mop up your top 100 queries, so you can automate your customer services for quite an economical way. So that could be quite interesting for you. VR as well, it's going to be really interesting in terms of that full experience at home, whatever that means. Be good to see who has the first foot into that. Amazon Shop, one of the biggest, search engines in the world, really. So again, are you there and are you creating sales there? Extremely cheap to get on board there, so really exciting for everyone. And then the summary. So the summary is market like it's 2018 and be brave enough to start again, or at least rip some of it up. Know what your new customer wants in terms of millennials, centennials coming through. Be grammable. I know it's a bad word. Document everything if you can. Be curious about new tech and get on it fast, or find someone in your organization that will. Influence the influencers. Think about your entire digital presence, not just social. And then set budget aside to create thumb-stopping content and social advertising. A couple of things. Spectacular Podcast is starting soon, so there'll be more hints and tips on that. And also, Social Media for Profit online course is going to be available soon too, so look out for that as well. And that's me. If anyone wants to get in touch, Instagram and Twitter. Thank you very much.